Alright folks, I wanted to share this ongoing project right here with you guys, give you an in-depth look because it's been a work in the progress. There's been a work in progress. There's a lot of things about it that are just not finished yet, but I didn't want to get too far along before I thought, well, maybe my RC audience might enjoy seeing this before we jump into what all it has taken to get this to this point. Seeing this, yes, this is an Endura Jeep JK, if I'm not mistaken. It's supposed to have a 270 millimeter wheelbase. Yeah, that's pretty short. And it's taken, like I said, a lot of work. So we're going to get into this right here. First, hit me up with a random crew, hashtag random CRU, random crew, just to let me know you're here and watching. Let's get into this. So when you're working with an Enduro Jeep body like this, oh yeah, no body mounts yet, okay. Here's one of the things that a lot of people will go through the trouble to make it so they can run this body on the rig. Look at that full interior. Turned on a light so you guys can see it just a little better. It's a little dusty in here because of some of the work I've been doing. But those are like nice molded, injection molded, hard plastic. You got your gear shifts in there, your four-wheel drive shift, your cup holders, a little e-brake, cup holders in the back, full out dash. Look at that dash. This is a really nice Jeep body. This came to me by donation. I gotta say a huge shout out and thank you to my buddy John, my one and only patron on patreon.com. Go check that page out. Get some more patrons happening. We're gonna have patrons only videos happening. This video here though is going to be kind of a how-to video. There's a lot of ways to go about making your chassis able to mount onto here, and I don't see any other reason why we can't just start discussing that, showing you the body, fully light receptacle, like you can actually see the LED mount in there, right? And then you got your bumper lights and everything. I have not cut the rear frame rails. We'll discuss that in a minute. This is a mount for the rear tire assembly. It's got the rear door. I never actually bothered to see if that opened. I don't think it does. We could change that if we wanted to. Same as the hood. You have to cut the hood lines. Very simple and easy. It's that kind of plastic. Do your own hinging, and then you could have a hood that opens and closes. Maybe one day. Oh yeah, another detail. Antenna, full wipers, mirrors, door handles, everything. So the first thing you're going to notice right away is, where's the transmission? And yes, before you go jumping in the comments, it's crooked right here. I understand that. I have to remount the transfer case to attack some of this angle a little better. There's the transmission. I did a lot of research trying to figure out what is the best way to attack this project. And what I did was I used a front brace transmission mount. Yeah, check that out. I actually had to go into Tinkercad and change the mount holes though, because this was for an HSP transmission, which does mount up quite a bit different. And before I could even mount the transmission between the shock towers, there's a few things that I had to figure out and I had to do. The first thing though was learning about, this is what you call a 3-gear transmission from AXIAL. It uses 3 gears inside it, so don't be mistaken. 3-gear, not 3-speed. Gotcha? Gotcha. Okay, we can continue with these OG plastic 3. That was me, not you. The OG plastic 3-gear transmissions, they have a little cover that can be popped off the backside, which is normally this side. Yeah, you're right. And that, well, we changed it. What I did was I took transmission apart, popped the plastic cover off this side, switched, basically mirroring the output for the transmission. She's a little stiff right here, you know. I have to loosen that up a bit, I think. But it mirrors it so that you can run your spur gear on this side. You mount your motor plate on this side using spacers. And you can probably see them down in here. If my phone will focus. Yeah, I'm filming with a phone today. And you see all that yellow. That yellowing is just from a little bit of Dremel modifying. Sorry if that's out of focus. My phone's not being very fair on that today. Yeah, there's spacers in there. See them right here? Right there to there. And that allowed me to set this motor plate at the right height. My pinion mesh ain't the best either, but I kind of already made an excuse for that. To fit it all between the front shock towers, I actually had to push them out just a little bit with spacers in here. I don't know how well that's going to go over, okay? This is still untested at this point. So doing this has allowed me to get everything that's usually in the way of this full interior. Okay, we'll go underneath and have a look. As the interior comes down, you can tell there's no room at all to work with there for putting a transmission unless you start cutting away the interior. And if that's why you're running the body, that's not what you want to do. So let's get this where it's going to roughly kind of sit in the front. Look at all that room up under the engine bay, or in the engine bay. Right, the spur gear, it comes close. At the end of that shaft for the spur gear, it comes mighty close, but it's not touching. So that's all good. Lots of room. A few more things to do before it's tested. Like I was starting to tell you, I have to remount this. I want to push it a little more forward and obviously straighten it out. That's going to do is it's going to take a little angle out of this. It'll give a little angle in this, but this side can handle it. You can tell there's two different angles going on for the drive shafts going down each respective axle. As well, I've got to add another shaft going from the output up here down to here, and then the drive line will be all fully connected. In the rear, I've opted out, taken away the shock hoops to accommodate for that bulky interior, and now we have cantilever suspension. You can't believe her suspension. Can't believe it's not butter. Have a look at that. Lots of travel. You'll notice right away RC four-wheel drive shocks. Yes, the springs are quite internal on these. And nice and clear and clean amount of travel for the pivot. Triangles, for lack of a better word. And you see those connect up with a little spacer right in here to give lots of clearance. If you don't have enough, you just put a bigger spacer in there. Luckily, the art of 3D printing has allowed for a lot of customization in that manner. These tires, I'm not so sure. These are going to be the final tires. Have a look here. See, bind point, bind point. It's just because of being so, if you were to actually compress it like this, you'll see that the tires, oh, I wish I had a third hand for this. The tires actually do rotate freely when it's not compressed, or sorry, not being forced on a weird angle. That sounds much better. Didn't really think this video out through before I decided to start filming. I just knew it was time for a video for you guys, a how-to video. This is hopefully going to help you figure out how to manage a front mount transmission. Kind of gives you the heads up of where you gotta go. I looked all over YouTube and I found maybe 2 videos featuring things like this, but not quite this. Maybe this will help you out. You'll want to put a brace between those front shock hoops. You gotta push them out a little bit, maybe about that much either side. I just used a couple of, what did I use there? Is that the yeah, just a plastic axial spacer. So whatever those are, 5mm I think, per side. You total increasing your shock mount width by 10mm altogether. Not such a big deal though. That is not a big deal at all. Fits rather good. There's nothing too much out of alignment. Everything still fits body ways. You know, I hope this helps you guys out. I hope you're able to figure this out if you want to run one of these Enduro bodies on your RC. And as you can see in this mock-up here, like, it's totally worth having that interior so you can put your character in it. I had a little problems fitting him in. Ah, dang it. I should get on printing those body mounts, shouldn't I? You can see his back end. His backside just don't want to hit the seat proper. But I mean, you could always pot them in with hot glue. Shorten the legs if you got it, but I mean, I plan on being able to take him out and set him up doing stuff in future videos. Hint, hint. I'm not saying much more than that. I also have to fabricate this top edge here. Shouldn't be too hard to do. I've got some yellow paint. I can print it in yellow PETG and then try to paint it to match. Isn't that cool? I mean, like, come on. That's the pinnacle of scaleness. When your driver is actually in a vehicle where he can come out and set up camp or hook up a boat trailer or whatever. Yeah, I get it. Some of you watching might not be that far into it and think, why would you want to go that far? I wonder what he's looking at. He's probably looking at the scenery and hoping he doesn't become a part of it. Technically, dude, you are scenery. Scale drivers, right? So here it is, the back on it. And I wanted to point out, as I was putting this on, there's actually, I'll pop this off and show you in a minute, there's pre-existing holes for a roll cage. I don't know if that's what they intended it for, but that's what it's going to be used for, because I can print a nice roll cage that has the angle bars here instead of coming all the way out square. Maybe make it a soft top for it too. I ain't that talented, but we'll see if I am, because you know I'm going to try. These tires, yes, I'm not married to the idea of these tires. They're a nice tire and all. They're big, and it's going to be hard on the axles. I suppose I should have showed you guys. These are a set of Red Cat axles from either a Gen 7 or a Gen 8. I know I got given a set from a Gen 7, but the other set I bought is just a little bit different. So I'm wondering if it might be just either a different generation or a Gen 8 model of Everest. If you know the trucks, you know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, it might just sound weird. Here's the tire I was thinking could be what I could use instead for more of a scale look, you know, like, I've seen Jeeps like this before though. That's kind of scale, you know. But these are definitely not comp size tires. I don't know if I'd be comping this truck. To be honest, I'm not really building it for me. This is gonna be my daughter's Jeep. Yes sir, my daughter likes Jeeps. One of the other things I figured I wanted to show you guys, because it was fairly a big thing holding me back, was an attempt to achieve the 270 millimeter wheelbase. That is, for those of you who don't know, from here to here. To mock it up, I put on a set of links that brought it to about 330. So the tires were actually like back here. And that's no good. Not for the Jeep JK, which should be a 270. Luckily, I had the links to spare, and I had this special little tool right here. Ta-da! Look at that. This is a thread cutting tool. Not that my phone's going to zoom in properly to show you guys or focus, but the original threads measured at 3.26 millimeters. Was it 3.26 or 4.26? I think it was 3.26. And this cut them to 3.86. Yes, that's right. Barely enough difference for the plastic rod ends, these little guys, to really notice any difference at all. So I went ahead and I cut it down to with an estimation, you know, I put it with it set here, the rear axle. I took another axle that I just happen to have, and I set it to roughly what measured out to be 270 from here to here. Plenty of room to work with in there, you know, like nothing was in the way. And then I marked off where I thought the link swipe might be, and then went a little further, added a little bit of length to my measurement in total, so that if I messed up, it's easier to take material off than it is to put material back on. In fact, if you can do the latter, let me know. You could be a rich person. So I eventually, with 3 different attempts and taking it apart so many times, this is why I couldn't film the process, the actual work, to show you guys, because it's just too much. And taking it apart, putting it back together, doing the work, taking it apart, doing the work, and putting it back together, like 6 or 7 times over. This back end was apart and back together before I had it to 280. Okay, that's not 270. This is 280. It's close enough for me. I had enough of turning this and then cutting the excess threads from turning it all the way down. Like cutting the excess material off to get it so the rod link ends, these guys would fit. Look how short those links are. This is a standard link for an SCX10, probably a front link. And you can tell, it's, see if I can line it up here without dropping it. It's quite a bit of difference. And the links I cut down are a lot longer than this, believe me. And voila, that's how you do short links. I'm not even thinking you can buy links that short. So there you go. This is the Jeep JK chassis so far, part 1. I like it. I think this is brilliant. Gives you all the room in the world. Lastly, I just wanted to add in, I was going to mod this RC 4-wheel drive 2-speed transmission. I think I would have sat right about here. But then, this goes in a leaf spring truck, okay? You don't have links that are going to come up and connect with the bottom of this. The alignment, it would have happened. Things wouldn't have lined up, and it would have took 10 times more work to do this than to just use the 3-gear transmission. Right? I think so. So in the end, we'll close by saying not much work left to do. I have to cut the frame rails down a little bit, print some body mounts for it, maybe run some lighting eventually, determine if I want to use these tires or not. Oh, and realign that transfer case. Maybe push the top links out a little bit so I can bring this pinion up like that. I think that'd be fair. Stay tuned, part 2 coming up. Don't forget, #RandomCrew. Trust me, it does go a long ways to help these videos get a few more views. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.